Hey everyone, welcome to the BAM studio. My name is Helen and I'm going to be guiding you through a 20 to 25 minute yoga practice today titled Intro to Gentle Yoga. So just before we get going with that, what I'd like us to consider is what does it mean to practice gentle yoga. From my point of view, we are cultivating not only a physical gentleness through our practice, but also an attitude of being gentle as well in terms of how we move, how we breathe, and in the way that we think about ourselves. So thinking about cultivating what it is to be gentle, what it is to be kind, there's a Sanskrit word that I'd like to introduce you to here. It is ahimsa. And with that word, we are looking at non-harming, so non-suffering. So from that, we can draw upon ways to be kind and gentle to ourselves through the practice of yoga. And we're going to explore this through 5 core postures within the practice. I'm also going to refer to them in their Sanskrit names as well, just to give you an idea of their lineage and heritage within the tradition. Yeah, you don't really need anything specifically for this practice. What I always encourage is that you have plenty of space to move freely, undisturbed if possible, and if you have any props needed in order for this to be a gentle and comfortable and uplifting experience, then just making sure you have them available. So I often use a bolster, I just have it around. It can be useful for relaxation. I've got some yoga blocks as well. You might like a blanket, for example, when we do some kneeling work, just to pad under the knees. And just on another note, whilst we're here, to let you know that this is a slow-paced practice. So that's another way of kind of cultivating a gentle approach. We're not going to rush through. It isn't a quick moving approach. This is slow, this is mindful, in order for you to come about in more of a meditative, reflective state of mind. So let's get going. Make sure that you have that space available to you. We're going to start standing if that's okay. So thinking about where our feet are going to be in position to one another, looking at the toes roughly being parallel, and just take a few moments to shift your body weight around the space so that you feel your body weight moving through the outer edges, the inner edges, the front of the foot, the back of the foot, and just kind of get a feeling of yourself being in your body, in this space, in this moment in time. And then slowly just bringing that into a still place. And let's do 3 breaths together, whereby you inhale deeply through the nostrils and sigh the breath on the exhale. So breath in and a long sigh. And again, breathe in and breathe out. So feeling that exhale through the body towards the earth, breathe in. Exhale, soften through the sigh, down through the body, and let your awareness be at the soles of your feet. Let them be placed gently in contact with the earth. And then from that place, just be aware of your ankles, your knees, your thighs, your hamstrings, the backs of your thighs, your hips, your pelvis. Notice if your pelvis is pressing forwards, notice if your pelvis is arching back. Could be useful again to go through those ranges of movement and just get a feel for what it is that your kind of normal habit would be for that position of your pelvis, and just try and bring it into a neutral position between those 2 extremes. And then from the base of your pelvis, just trace along your spine. Just see if you can visualize the curves of your spine from your tailbone coming in towards the lower back. The curve draws in and then up. There's a flattening of that curve as it comes towards the shoulders, and then the curve S's its way out again and then flattens towards the neck. So almost like an S-shape curve through the back towards the nape of your neck. Let your awareness come to the top of your skull and lightly draw your chin in towards your throat, so you encourage a bit of spaciousness across your neck and your shoulders. So let's come into the breath. Gentle awareness of your breath. And the breath is gentle at this stage in the practice. The breath should be your natural flow, something that you are aware of, but not anything that you're trying to mold into something else. So it's feeling the breath on the inhale, the touch in the nostrils, gentle touch of the breath on the nostrils. Exhale, back out through the nostrils or through your lips, softly parted. And then coming into hands on the belly, we'll take a 3-part breath to begin. So the 3-part breath, on the inhale, just noticing your belly expand. On the exhale, feeling how your belly softens as your breath exits the body. So let the belly gently expand with that soft inhale, and then exhale and release, and then noticing a sense of hollowing. So you could imagine or visualize the bottom of your lungs just starting to fill with air as the belly rises and as the belly falls, emptying through the base of the lungs. And just do that for a few more breaths, and then slide your hands towards the diaphragm. So the diaphragm, where the rib cage meets the top of the abdomen, and one hand on the tummy, one hand placed onto your diaphragm. And just see if you can sense the breath now rising a little further. So into the belly on that gentle inhale, and then the diaphragm, the rib cage expands. And then on the exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the belly softens and the breath exits the body. So we're not lifting the shoulders, we're just noticing the expansion, and visualize or sense that the breath is now filling up to the middle of your lungs. So that breath starts at the base of the lungs, comes up to the center of the lungs, and then on the exhale, as the diaphragm relaxes and the belly softens, the lungs empty again all the way to their end. Can you really imagine emptying, emptying, and emptying? So there's no more breath there, it just keeps lengthening on that exhale. Another breath or two in this way, and then we'll come up to the collarbones. So one hand still on the tummy, one hand now finds the collarbones or the top of the chest. You might notice then at the top of that in-breath now, so we're starting at the belly, the diaphragm, and then we come into the collarbones, and there's a lift, there's a rise, but we're not taking the shoulders anywhere, we're lifting the chin. The rise is just with the breath coming into the chest cavity further as you deepen the inhale. And then on the exhale, it softens, it releases, the rib cage hollows, the diaphragm relaxes, and the belly draws in naturally. So just following that gentle inhale, it's getting a little bit deeper now. Imagining then the lungs filling all the way to the top. So can you really sense the lungs filling and filling them with as much air in that inhale, but in a gentle way. So you're not grasping or trying to force that breath. It just expands itself and it offers you a spaciousness. And then on the exhale, it releases the collarbones. The breath's starting to empty down. The diaphragm relaxes and the belly hollows. So just take that a few more times, just coming into more spacious awareness of your breath. And remember, the premise of the practice is to be kind, to be gentle and kind to ourselves. So taking this attitude with you as we come into Tadasana, our first posture. This is almost our place that we can come back to in our standing positions. So you can have your hands together in a prayer position, lightly pressing the hands in, or you might prefer your arms to be out to the side with this sense of openness in the palms. Activate the kneecaps, press down into the ground, this draw of gravity into the earth, and then a sense of lift. As you breathe in, can you come back to this breathing of filling the lungs to the top on the inhale, and then empty, empty, empty on the exhale, but still with this sense of alertness and awareness in the body. And maybe just pressing the hands in together might give you this sense of structural support, inner strength, outer strength, steadiness from which we're going to move gently and mindfully with our breath. So let's relax that, and we'll take some arm raises. So on a breath in, raising the arms up towards the sky or in the direction of the sky. On the breath out, lower down. So if you find when you take your arms up in the sky, it brings tension into the shoulders, then maybe we're just coming halfway to shoulder height. And what you can also do is you can take them further away from the ears, so soften into the shoulders and into the elbows. And then when you come back through that, you can extend the fingertips away on the exhale and lower them down. So let's do that twice more in your time. Breath in brings length. Let's think of a gentle expanse in the body that you are providing yourself. The breath out brings you back to your starting point. I like to think of it as coming home to what we know, a point of reference. And then we'll come to the feet. On the breath in, lift the heels off the ground, and on the breath out, lower the heels down. So we'll play around with that for maybe 3 more cycles in this way. Inhaling, lifting the heels, exhaling, lowering the heels. You might notice your body weight shifting a little forwards and backwards. So again, gentle, be kind. It's okay to be wobbly. What we're not here to do is judge ourselves. We need to cultivate this attitude of kindness, of gentleness. And then would you like to combine the 2 movements? So you bring the arms in as well the next time you raise your heels. You might find it useful to have a point of focus with your gaze. So gently fix your gaze on a place ahead of you. Breathing in to rise, breathing out to lower down. And just trying that maybe twice more in your own time. You could always place one hand on the wall or on the top of a chair for a little bit of extra support for your balance. When you've completed the round that you're on, just let your arms rest by your sides. See if you can come into that mountain pose again, or kind of reference point. Stand with a sense of openness. Take a deep breath in and then sigh the breath out. So our next posture that we're going to explore is chair pose. Ardha Utkatasana. So we're coming halfway into a squat. I'm more than happy for you to join in with me from the beginning, or you can watch and then join in on the next few rounds as we go through. So we want to have the feet again in that hip distance position. Nothing wider, nothing narrower, too narrow. So again, just something that feels gently, evenly placed through your feet. On a breath in, taking the arms up towards the sky, keeping the chest lifted. On the breath out, bending the knees and then sweeping the arms beside you. We want to keep that lift in the chest, slightly draw in towards the tummy for support. Breathe in to rise, press through the feet. So exhale, coming through, lightly drawing your belly button in. So you bring this abdominal support in for your lower back, for your pelvis. Press through the feet to rise, lengthen. And repeating. And again, if you'd just like to take a little bit of support here for your balance, you could have one hand on the wall, lift and rise, exhale, coming through the legs. And the knees want to bend so much so that, you might see the inner edges of your feet, you might just see the tops of your toes, but it's okay if they go over the toes as well. If you think of walking up the stairs, the knees are often in a position whereby they will flex and bend over the toes, but it needs to feel safe for your knees as well. So this is where we cultivate that gentle attitude of what is useful for me, what is working for me right now, what is not working for me. And then would you like to stay for a few breaths? You can continue with that flow if you'd prefer. Let your shoulders be spacious. Come into your breath. Play around with your arm movements if you'd like to, out to the side. Just start to invite a little more opening through the chest cavity, the sense of rise in the body on the in-breath, and then a little more dynamic if you'd like to. You can start to extend the arms alongside the ears, and then think of your tailbone extending away from your fingertips. So there's this real length coming in diagonally from the fingertips all the way to the tailbone. It's almost like the tailbone reaches towards the ground, the fingertips reach towards the sky in a diagonal line. And then being gentle, soften the shoulders, soften the elbows, relax the jaw. And then finally, bring yourself upright, sigh the breath out, and bring yourself back to this still place in your body, noticing how you feel. So be with the physical sensations to begin with. Notice what you feel physically. Notice heat, energy, and then start to go a little bit deeper. How is my breath? Come back to a long exhalation, perhaps even the 3-part breath, to keep your focus in the body rather than in the mind. And then start to come towards the back of the mat, and we'll explore Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1. So the feet, again, this time you could have them a little bit narrower if you'd like to. You could still keep them hip distance if that's your preferred stance. And then turning the right toes out a little, take a step forwards with your left foot. In this position here, just soften into the front knee and activate the back thigh. So you're really pressing down. So there's this awareness that you're grounded, that you're steady through the base of the body. You could always take your front foot out a little towards the outer edge of the mat if you'd like a little more space for your body there. Soft in the shoulders, take a breath in, exhale completely, and then breathe in and bend the front knee, raise the arms. Exhale, lower the arms and bring the front leg towards straight. So I'm keeping the postures relatively simple today because I want you to really take your time to explore them from one to the other with your breath, very mindfully. Knowing how to come in safely, how to be gentle with yourself, so you're not rushing or pushing yourself unnecessarily. There's a mindful quality. So let's stay for a few breaths and we'll play around again with the arm positions, breathing in to stay, keeping that sense of lift in the chest. Exhale, you could draw the elbows in towards you like you're hugging them in. Inhale, expand away from that hug. So exhale, it's a gentle hug, draw them in. You could also hug in around your tummy, activate the abdomen. Inhale and release. One more. Inhale, release. Take another breath here. Just explore your inner warrior, peaceful, gentle strength. And then exhale, bring yourself back. Step your feet back together. Pause for a breath or two, and then we'll take the same practice on the opposite side. So the left toes turn out, the right foot steps forward, generous step forwards, anchor down through the feet, and in any positions here, just taking your front foot out a little if you'd like to. Feeling grounded, that place of steadiness, and then coming back into the gentleness of your breath. And then let it rise on the in-breath as you take the arms up, bending your front knee, exhale and come back. So we probably did about 6 of these on the other side. So looking at something similar here in terms of pace, slowing it down. Maybe notice some subtle differences between this side to the other. You might notice your calf, for example. You might notice the shoulders. The warrior Virabhadrasana translates to be a peaceful warrior or a friendly hero. So how can you be friendly towards yourself in this posture as you take yourself through these movements? Be kind to your knees, be kind to your back. And when you're ready, just coming to stay. And on the exhale, drawing in. So being kind to your back, you can support with your lower abdomen, almost like you're hugging in through the belly button towards the spine. Inhale, soften, lift the arms, exhale, and draw the elbows in. Be kind to your knee. Could be coming back a little bit from that position, or perhaps it feels more stable for you to move more deeply into that position. We're all different and unique in our own way. So when you complete the round that you're on, just pause there, embodying this gentleness in your shape. Soften the shoulders, relax your jaw, but with this strength coming through from your core down through the legs to the feet to the earth. Bring yourself back. Step your feet back together, and then let's find our mountain pose again. So hands can be open, or you may prefer to have the hands pressed together at the center of your heart. Can you come back into your breath and just find that gentle quality of breathing in, of breathing out. The kindness of your breath, bringing vitality as you inhale, softening tension as you exhale. We're going to come down to the ground and just take a little bit of work on all fours. So this is where I would say if you're on a hard floor or your knees are tender on all fours, you can pad them out by placing a blanket underneath the knees, or you can fold the mat and make a pleat in the mat. Same with the wrists. Sometimes coming in on top of the shoulders on the wrists can be uncomfortable here, so you can bring your wrists ahead of you, or you could pad them as well so that that angle is less acute. So this is how we can be gentle to ourselves as we prepare for postures as well. So we'll do some cat-cow. You may or may not be familiar with this. The knees want to be about hip distance apart and the shoulders are roughly stacked over your wrists. And we want to protect our lower back and our pelvis junction. So think about just hugging in lightly through the core so you're not collapsing through the abdomen towards the ground. So this will provide you length on the in-breath, stretching your tailbone away, lifting your heart or your chest forwards. And then on the exhale, drawing the tailbone in and then rounding along the back towards the shoulders, stretching through the back, and then you can bring the head in as well. So on the in-breath, release the tailbone, let the breath wave along the spine as you lengthen, and then on the out-breath, draw the tailbone in and then round and stretch through the back as if you're making a bridge or an arch with your spine. And the Sanskrit word for this posture is Utkatasana. So we're thinking about this cat-cow position as we might know it to be the cat stretch coming through the back of the shoulders. Notice how your shoulders feel, and then breathe in, lengthen, coming into the cow stretch with the chest lengthening. And then we're just going to start to stretch that a little bit further into the lower back. So coming back through that lengthened position on the inhale, exhale into the tummy and then round the pelvis in the direction of the heel. So think about drawing in at the hip creases, stretching through the lower back as if you're leading now with the tailbone. And then on the inhale, come forwards as if you're gently pushing a ball along the ground with the crown of your head. So exhale into the tailbone, let the elbows find the ground. Inhale, gently nudging the ball along the ground with the crown of your head. And just try that for another 2 more rounds in your time. And a breath guiding you through the movement. And when you complete the round that you're on, come back onto all fours and then find yourself on the front of your body. And this is our 4th exploration. 5th exploration, Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. So you can rest your head on the ground or on your hands. If it's on the ground, you're wearing glasses, you might like to take your glasses off. You could let your hands be beside you or tucked in under your head for more support there for your neck and shoulders and head. So just breathing, noticing the expanse through the back of the body, exhaling through the front of the body towards the earth. Let your pelvis sink in heavy, your lower abdomen, the tops of your thighs, your feet, and then start to guide your hands either alongside the rib cage, so the elbows point up, or you could have them out in like a cactus shape, so the elbows are in line with your shoulders. So whichever of those is more comfortable for you, and you're welcome to try both if you'd like to. So we're inhaling and lifting the chest, lifting the head, but keeping the chin drawn in, and then exhale and lower down. So the pelvis and the lower abdomen, the rib cage are all pretty fixed here. As you breathe in, you might notice them pressing as you find that length through the front of the body, strengthening through the lower back, lengthening along in between the shoulders and then along your neck, finding that length as well. So hands can either be ahead of the shoulders, or you could have them alongside your rib cage, and almost feel as if you're pulling the hands back as you lift the chest and the head off the ground. So gently making your way through this. If your feet are uncomfortable, or it just does not feel comfortable for you to have your feet flat, you could tuck the toes under. And then maybe staying for a few breaths if you'd like to. Or you could continue with that flow or rest. Think about lifting as you breathe in, almost as if you're taking yourself forwards. This posture is about length as opposed to height. So think about the length that you can find for yourself from your toes all the way through to your collarbones, and then the crown of your head. Can you keep anchoring through the crown of your head towards the wall in front of you? Imagine there's a wall at the crown of your head and a wall at your toes, and you keep lengthening between those places with this sense of spaciousness along the spine, strength in your lower back. And then finally exhale, lower yourself down. Just notice how it feels to release from that as you settle back onto the ground. Sigh the breath out. And then slowly start to bring yourself over onto the back of your body. So be mindful with how you move and transition, coming onto your back. Just settling through towards the ground here. Your arms can be away from you. And just one by one, inviting the knees in over your tummy. So the next posture we'll do is more of a counter posture. We're going to really start to wind things down now, just taking one more and then coming into relaxation. So your hands can come into the backs of the thighs, and we'll do some leg raises. So you can either do this individually with one leg at a time, or you could take it with both feet together, depending on what feels most useful, what's gentle, what's enough for that hamstring stretch, what feels appropriate for your lower back and your pelvis. And just taking this, you could bring your arms in if you'd like to, take your arms out at shoulder level. Exhale, bring them onto the tops of the shins as you bring them in, softening the heels, softening the ankles. On the in-breath, imagine leading with the heels, just to intensify that sensation along the backs of your hamstrings. And we'll just do that twice more in our time. So either single leg or both legs together, depending on what feels most useful for you, most supportive and gentle, but also enough for you to feel as though you're taking yourself through this mindfully in a strengthening and lengthening way. So let's start to bring that in. Bring the knees in. Give yourself a hug, a gentle squeeze, a little rock from one side to the other. Maybe you'd like to round into a ball-like shape with your body, and then start to bring that down to the ground, settle through the legs. You can rest onto your back, you could let your feet be on the ground and your knees find one another. You could also just extend the legs along the ground so that you're lengthened on the back of the body. Your arms can be away from you or placed on your body someplace, and you might even prefer to rest onto your side. That's also an option. So take your time to find a position that feels comfortable, whereby you feel supported. There's this gentle support from the earth holding you. And then come into your breath. Noticing how it feels as you breathe in, noticing how it feels as you breathe out. With each in-breath, come to the idea that you are welcoming vitality, and this vitality is expanding throughout your whole body in a gentle and kind way. And then with each out-breath, start to absorb that vitality for yourself back into the core of your body with that quality of kindness and gentleness. So breathing in vitality, gentle and kind. Breathing out, absorbing those qualities for yourself as you release into the earth, letting go of unnecessary tension. And then over the next few moments, just coming into the sensation of the breath in your nostrils, the rise and fall of the breath in your body. Sigh the breath out a few times, almost like it's acting as a wave of relaxation through the body. Are there any extra layers that are just starting to release into the earth? One more sigh. So you're welcome to stay for longer if you'd like to. Otherwise, just slowly starting to come back into your day, gradually stretching in a way that feels pleasant. Moving in ways that are gentle, with an awareness that's gentle. As you roll onto your side, be mindful not to rush up to sitting, and find a comfortable seat of your choice. Your hands can rest at the heart space, or you may prefer to let them rest onto your legs. And just take a few moments to notice how you feel as a result of your practice today. Having cultivated an attitude of being gentle through your movements, through your breath work, and with your thoughts, with your mind focus, can you take those qualities with you in your actions and your encounters as you go through into the rest of your day and even beyond? So thank you very much for joining me for this gentle yoga practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and welcome here at the BAM studio again. Go and check out all the other practices that we have on offer. My name is Helen, and please drop us a thumbs up, a comment, and if you haven't done so already, just make sure you hit that subscribe button. Okay, take care of yourselves, and I will be checking in with you very soon.